All right. So I will let you guys know. Let's see when it's going to be live. Let's see. All right. So I will let you guys know. Let's see when it's going to be live. Hello, 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 everyone. We are live on YouTube. This is the Dear Fear series. I'm your host, Miss West Creative Coach, and I have a slew of awesome, amazing entrepreneurs, professionals, parents, you name it. We are here today, and I'm so excited because Dear Fear has been going on for a couple months in regards on the Babe podcast, and I was like, you know what? I need to do a table talk with a group of us where we can just really get it in, have fun, and share, because sharing is caring. So before we get started, I wanted to have a few of you guys introduce yourself. So I want to hear from Coach Love, Korea, and Dr. Kim. We'll have you guys introduce yourself, and we'll be doing pop-up introductions throughout the evening, okay? So Coach Love, we'll start with you.
Okay. Hey guys, Coach Love here. As you guys know, I'm a certified master life coach for men. We do a lot of hard work, which is the hardest work that we probably all do in our lives, because it's not easy to, find the courage and face the fear of ourselves and our stories. So currently, I'm just here to participate in the conversation. I'm here really as a student today, but I'm also happy to share some wisdom that I may have available as the conversation continues. So thanks for having me today, LaShana. And it's awesome to see all of you beautiful faces. Thank you guys for coming.
Sis, you are not here as a student. You are on the panel. Don't get me started up in here, up in here. But thank you for introducing yourself, Coach Love. You always have bright things to share, hence your name. So thank you so much. Korea, please introduce yourself for the people.
Hi, I'm Korea Lawrence. I am a philanthropist, have a nonprofit for girls who've been sexually abused as well as gone through traumatic events. I am also a sales and team development consultant. So I basically help business owners and solo entrepreneurs in the self-development process, as well as in the business development and in the business development process. So that is who I am and what I do. Mom also, and I just want to thank you, LaShana, for having me, and happy to be a part.
No problem. Thank you for sharing. Dr. Kim, please introduce yourself for the people.
Hello, hello, beloved and beautiful people. My name is Dr. Kimberly L. Jefferson, and I am a board certified chiropractor. In this space, I'm interacting as an alignment coach. That means I have my wellness certification, holistic wellness, and I coach high achievers experiencing inner overwhelm to create more peace, balance, and joy in their everyday life.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. So for those who just tapped in a little late, we basically did a couple introductions. We're going to pop and do a few introductions throughout the evening, but I just want to hear from you guys. When you've seen the title Dear Fear, and you kind of seen the Dear Fear series going, whether you've seen the notes being written or the guests that I had on the Bay podcast, what kind of came up for you, and what kind of insight did you want to share about your response to what you were observing with the series?
One thing that I could say is I love your conversations with fear. And at the end, what really came up for me was when you did the letter to fear, and like your dear fear, shut the fuck up, or or I am conquering you and I am walking by faith. Like those things that when you wrote it out, I think it kind of spoke to me in a different way because I love journaling. And I think when you journal, it's like a healing process. It actually relieves some tension from your mind to your heart to the paper.
Oh, can you say that last part one more time for the people in the back?
I just said that it relieves. I believe I said this, y'all If I don't say it just right, just help me, okay? It relieves tension from your heart to your mind to the paper.
Yes, no, that's super dope. That's totally a bar. I love it. Thanks for sharing that. Who else wants to share about their experience? And I know a few of you guys have been on the actual podcast series, so feel free to jump in.
Anybody else want to go? All right, I'll jump in. I think what I really like is that you honestly acknowledge that fear is always with us, right? It's not like this thing where we're denying it, but we're just not allowing ourselves to, function in this space of fear. So I think that's what I like the most, because people try to make it seem like, oh, if you just say forget fear, it's just gonna go away. Fear is always with us, but we're making a choice, right, to say faith over fear. So I just like that you made it a conversation where there's acknowledgement, and then there's just honest conversation around what fear looks like for each of us. So that's what I really appreciate. Thanks for letting me share.
No problem. Thank you.
So I'll give my my feedback on that. For me, when I paid attention, it really just showed how it creates the ability to take ownership, where you're actually saying, yes, this is something that I'm fearful of, but I'm going to own this and I'm going to take ownership and say what I'm going to actually do. It removes the ability for me to be a victim now. So now I'm in control completely and fully. So that's what I really took away from it. I love it.
I love that. That's really good insight, because I truly believe that when you actually acknowledge something and you talk to it, that's how you can talk through it, right? But if we ignore it and we try to sweep it under the rug, it literally gets bigger. And then we're dealing with the crisis that's up here instead of catching it while it's small. So really good point. Anybody else want to share on that?
Hey guys, positive energy and good vibrations as always. It was dope. What's up, Coach Love, Coach West? What it do, everybody? How y'all feeling? So my experience in seeing it all, that's what's up. My experience seeing it all, seeing the fear and the whole movement, and also being in the podcast, it made me reflect a little bit. It made me really check myself and check what fear was doing to me currently, right? Because like Coach Love said, fear is always present. It's always going to be around. But the one thing we got to realize, if we check it, it can't check us. So I'm constantly in the process of just now checking where fear is at and what's doing to me now. So it put me in a new mindset. So I appreciate it. You're on mute, LaShana.
That's really good. I love that you shared that. So basically, it kind of gave you a little bit more self-awareness, so you could really, because you and I, we talk to fear in the camera, right? And I always say, look it dead in the face. And man, the way he talked to fear, y'all need to go back and watch the podcast. He talked to fear like he was just a thug. Like, look what it was. I was like, whoa. I was loving it. And we're going to get a chance to do a little bit of that tonight. Did anybody else want to share before we jump into it?
Yeah, I'll share as well. Thanks for having me. I think this is such a great thing that we have going. I think this needs to really be duplicated all across the world, because so many individuals are struggling with fear. And it was really like during COVID for me, guys, that I started to look at fear in a different way. And I used to look at it as like this enemy that was like much more tougher and stronger than me. And I started to give it less power by doing what you guys are already saying, like acknowledging it, looking at it almost like another person or individual that I have to look at face to face. And I started to see how fear was really intimidated by me, because the only reason it existed, because it was literally trying to stop me from making certain moves and certain progress within my life. And through this fear, I started to really appreciate this place in my life, because I said, okay, it's identifying some areas that I really need to work on. And through that acknowledgement, I started to go to the next level. Say, oh, there's fear again. There's a reason why you're here. What do I need to learn from this? Why am I not going to the next level? What are you trying to tell me without saying anything? And especially like in terms of like that poverty mindset that I had, y'all, during the COVID, me losing my job, me trying to grow my business, looking at fear and say, okay, I'm scared that I'm going to lose my house. I'm scared that I might lose my car. I'm scared and afraid, living in fear that all this great stuff that's happened in my life can literally be destroyed tomorrow. And that was a lie. So when I looked at fear and said, you don't really got that much power, things really started to change. I'm Manny and I'm done speaking. Thanks, guys.
Clubhouse. I'm Manny and I'm done speaking. No, listen, I love that you said that. And I think a lot of us are scared to say we're scared. Can anybody relate? Right? We be trying to act all tough and we won't even say it. And I don't know if it's being scared, if it's fill in the blank, but we have to communicate our feelings, whether it's true or not, because that is our reality. So I love that you shared that. We're going to do a couple more intros and then we're going to continue. RJD, will move to you for introduction, and then Carl Burnside, and we'll keep it moving.
Oh, okay. Well, as you guys already know, it's positive energy and good vibrations always. RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman. I'm a character and confidence building coach for men. I help men identify those things that are holding them back from being the men that God has truly called them to be. I know that every man has it. We were all born with it. Sometimes circumstances or things that come around is taken from us, but all it takes a little bit of information, a little bit of patience, a little bit of hard work, and every man can be as confident as God told him to be, because that's his will. Every man has a will that's God was given inside of him. So I'm just a man that helps men find it out and figure it out, man, and get past these hurdles. So if you know anybody out there or know any man struggling with their confidence, holla at me. I'm a man for him. Appreciate it, coach.
No problem. Thank you for sharing. Carl Burnside.
Oh man, I love him, man. His posts, his energy every day is great. I'm Carl Burnside. I am entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, many businesses. I build people, I build businesses, and I speak life. And it's my goal, my purpose in life to make sure that everyone around me is able to reach their goals and reach their full best selves. And so that's what I devote myself to, and sharing my network, my resources, and my life to being a servant, serving those who can and can't. And I'm glad to be here. And this conversation about fear is very important, because if it wasn't for fear, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. It's just like, it's fight or flight. I chose to fight, but it's my goal in life to help those who choose to run, find their way.
I love it. I love it. I concur. If it wasn't for fear, I wouldn't be where I am right now either. So on that note, right now, I would just like to hear from a couple of you guys. What is your relationship with fear? And at the end of the day, because I know Dr. Kim is doing the courage effect. And here's the deal. We're not going to stay with this word fear. By the end of the night, we're actually transitioning to the reframing of it. Instead of fear, I am now blank. So I basically want to hear your resiliency story, right? And I'm only prefacing it that way because that's literally what it is. We're not sitting here hyping fear up like it's the best next thing since sliced bread. We're actually talking about it so we can address it and move on. So anybody want to share like a little bit of your resiliency story? Just dangle that little carrot, because I know we all working on our books or whatever. But if you would like to share, we would really, really like to hear from you guys what it looks like in regards to your relationship with fear and how you overcame it.
I am Andrea Linnell Purry. I'm your purpose pusher. And one thing that I want to say is, a lot of times we as children growing up, we did not have a fear factor. We were ambitious. We would jump, we would run. Fear was not an option until something happened. And I think that's a lot of times, a lot of our story is something happened that changed our faith and made it fear. So for me, I think a couple things. Growing up with beautiful parents and living a religious, very, very religious, strict life, and going into school and being bullied, being told I look a certain way, it brought fear in for me, because I didn't fit the image, or I wasn't like good enough for the in crowd. So it kind of made me a little introverted, and it kind of made me digress. It made me be quiet. It made me silent. And the one thing that I can say my resiliency story is that even in those times where I allow fear to grip me and and for me to literally be silent, there was something brewing down on the inside of me where it was a courage. It was something that was saying, I can beat this. It was something that was saying, I'm bigger than this. It was something that was saying, you can overcome this. And I think the one thing that really, really stuck out for me was finding a community, finding a group of people who were kind of struggling with the same thing and encouraging them. So becoming an encourager kind of changed and it shifted my fear factor into now, okay, I'm walking by faith. I'm not allowing what people say or what they do to me to change who God predestined me to be.
I love that. And is that how Purpose Pusher was created?
Yes. Oh my gosh, the Purpose Pusher. I love this lady named Andrea Lynette Purry. I want to introduce you to her. She was created from not walking in purpose. She was created because she's seen people like herself who wasn't walking and wasn't doing what they were supposed to do in purpose. And what I do is I help single women get the right resources. I have a nonprofit that will be debuting in August with my whole women's conference. I know it's not the time for that, but it's just bubbling out. But the whole woman conference is going to be a place where women come and they become whole and they walk in their purpose. They write their books, they get the resources, they get the things that they need, they get the student loans out the way and get some grants.
Okay. And listen, at the end, we definitely, this is the time, but if you want to hold it, that's cool. Congratulations on that. I know that takes a lot to put to plan to nonprofits, no punk, right? So congratulations on that. Super excited for you. And thanks for being vulnerable and sharing your story. I too can relate in regards to being bullied. And at the end of the day, hurt people, right? So I'm glad that you said, I'm going to be the one to help and push into purpose. And listen, a lot of them bullies, they peeping you out now like, dang, I was tripping, right? So anyways, we'll talk about that. But thank you for sharing. Let's see. We have Dr. Kim. What would you like to share in regards to your resiliency story?
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, first off, I wanted to say too, I certainly agree with the fact that all of us have gone through some things, and like that bounce back story is so amazing. And I know everybody has like several of them. So what I'll do is I'll be short, but yeah, I've experienced the bullying too coming up. So fear really made me take a look at myself. And this is also another thing I like about talking to fear. It makes you look at the things that you need to look at. It makes you take action, right? Because fear indicates to us that we need to take action on some things. And for years, my natural response to fear was freezing. I've done the freezing and I've done the taking flight. I've run away from fears. And I grew up in an environment where I saw people freezing. I saw people belittling themselves. I saw people basically, making themselves small just to survive. Fear will make your survival instincts kick in if you are not aware of it. But when you start addressing it, it makes you really look at, okay, how do I feel? How do I want to feel? My biggest wake-up call was when I was in private practice and I experienced burnout. I was emotionally, mentally, and physically drained because of the things that I was doing, the things and the people that I let into my life. And I had to understand that, hey, Dr. Kim had some toxic behaviors and some patterns she needed to unlearn and some things she needed to break through. So it all started in my mindset and it continued into my spiritual level. So like when I said I had to look at me, one really cool thing about this is the way that I was triggered was also my way out. I would freeze, but I would look internally, and that's where I found God. I started looking at what God was saying about me. So my faith started to come in, and that was something that I had to continuously practice over and over and over again about who I am, whose I am, and where I am going and what I want to do. Basically, get in the driver's seat. I'll share something somebody shared with me today. I was saying God is my captain, and she was encouraging me. She said, no, you are the captain. God put you in the captain seat. He's the one who's going to guide you. You need to take more directive and command in your life. And that's how I got back in the saddle, as they say, on the horse, and go on forward in life.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Dr. Kim. And it's so awesome when we have people who are around us that's going to check us on our vocabulary, our verbiage, our mindset, because that turns into actions, right? It's so dope when we got somebody that's going to check us on that. So, yes, stay on horse, like I always say. All right. So, we got Manny and then Coach Love. Let's share our resiliency story.
All right. So I would honestly say that my resiliency story just is ongoing because one of the things about me, and I'll give my introduction a little bit later, but having my own marketing agency and developing a team, like things have happened so rapidly for me that I'm really grateful for. But it's like as I continue to dream and go forward, it's like there's always more fears that come because it's new territory. So like I've really gotten to the point where it's like I'm embracing it and not allowing it to stop me. I kind of shared about my story with COVID last year with just bouncing back from being with the loss of a job and still having to take care of a family. My wife and I are blended, so we have a total of 6 kids. And it can get real trying to take care of a whole big family on one income. But me acknowledging the fears, that really has done the trick for me on a consistent basis. But my biggest area that I've had to bounce back from fear was really understanding that I was worth more than I saw because of a lot of friendships and the way that I grew up and seeing my family be a certain way, mom and dad, like even though they were together, like they both had a poverty mindset. They both were operating in lack. They both had their own fears of trying to achieve dreams and write books and finish things. I remember like a few years ago when I first wrote my first book, I gave it to my mom and said, look, Mom, I wrote my first book. She said, yeah, I've been trying to finish my book for 25 years. And I said, but what the heck is going on with you? Mom done wrote my book, now done made 2 more books and you still ain't finished yours. Like, what is it? And I started to really see how fear can handicap people. It can literally leave you paralyzed where you can't even move because of that mindset. So I did a lot of subconscious reprogramming and really started to understand my own value and worth and started to fall in love with this unique, bald head, short person that God made. And I'm embracing him to the fullest. But I couldn't let fear stop me because it was always whispering in my ear and saying, Manny, you're going too far. You about to fail. What are you doing? You about to start another business? What are you doing? You about to have some more clients? You can't handle that. But I had to tell fear, you can't stop me. I'm not going nowhere. I'm about to continue to do my thing.
Let's go. I love that. You just said a lot that I want to dig into, but I know we have some more resiliency stories. Before we continue, if you haven't introduced yourself yet and you're doing a resiliency story, go ahead and start with your introduction and we'll keep it moving. We have Jenny up next.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm so excited to be on this panel. I've been blessed already and looking forward to where the conversation will go. And so I love this question. It's a couple of questions that you posed in particular. What is our relationship to fear? And so I thought about that earlier today. And for me, I think my relationship with fear looks like a game of tug of war. And, that has really that depiction is carried throughout my entire life. Naturally, I'm Ginger the Friend, better known as Ginger the Friend, Jenny King. Naturally, as a motivational, inspirational speaker, I know that I can handle absolutely anything that comes my way. But because of life experiences, I've been conditioned to think the opposite. And so it's that constant back and forth tug of war. You can do anything, but then no, my fears will creep in and cause me to believe different and then not act on whatever it is that maybe I may be facing. And so how that started for me, which leads into my resiliency story, is like many of you have talked about struggling with overcoming bullying. Same scenario for me. I grew up obese as a child and was teased severely in school. And from that experience, I developed very, very severe low self-esteem, and that's carried throughout my entire life, even until my adulthood. And I'd say me learning to overcome that really came through for particular areas that I really promote on my platform, and that's faith, fashion, fitness, and just learning to have fun. And I talk about it in my first book, which is entitled Live Whole, Healthy, and Free. And through my journey, I've really learned to embrace what it means to love yourself and what it means to practice whole self-care. And for me, I had to really lean into my relationship with Christ, and then also just fall in love with expressing myself through how I dress. And, it's something that I've always loved. And I feel like my personality really comes out when I do that. And then also, really caring for myself by exercising and getting in the gym, or exercising even with my nutrition. And then finally just learning to live life and having fun. And that's something that I didn't do for a long time because of fear. So those 4 F's really have helped me to overcome low self-esteem that developed as a child, that grew into comparison, that grew into just so many other negative effects. So yeah, that's my resiliency story.
Thank you for sharing that. And with your 4 F's, I know that's part of your framework, which is a part of your platform. And I feel like as entrepreneurs, we create things that we need,
yeah,
inadvertently serves because we believe that there's others that need it, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Absolutely.
our story is not really ours. It's for everybody else. And then it just goes around and around to make a massive impact. Question, who all in here experienced being bullied? Just raise your hand. I want to get a ratio. So it looks like more than half, right? And so when we think of that, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, like I feel like that prepared me for the chaotic workplace where you had that bully boss or that bully peer. It prepared me for in college when maybe you had a professor that wasn't so nice. Like everything that we have experienced, whether it was on a low level of bullying, where it's just the subtle things, or it is very overt and in your face bullying, right? And I feel like this is a part of our resiliency, because when we think back of what we've already overcome, this is easy peasy, right? And I think sometimes we forget about everything that we've been through, and then we face the current. It's like, oh my God. No, I need you to rewind. I need you to think about the childhood trauma, the dysfunctional upbringing, the chaotic household, being exposed to domestic violence, fill in the blank. And if we can get over that stuff, this is like freaking hopscotch.
Hey, coach, you know what I call that?
What's that?
You know what I call that?
What you call that?
I call that forgetting where your receipts are, right? We've already paid for it. You dig what I'm saying? Our confidence and our strength and our evidence of who we are, we've already paid for it. We somehow misplaced the receipt, right? We somehow forgot what we've been through. We somehow forgot the pain. Now, this is why God is so dope. He doesn't live in time, but we do. Thank God for time, because guess what? If there wasn't time, we have headaches all day long. If there wasn't time, we'd be in pain and heartbreak all day long. But also time also makes you forget how much you really hurt, how much that really hurt, that thing that you thought that you wouldn't get through. Yeah, that receipt. So if we go back and find that receipt, man, listen, whatever we're going through going forward is nothing.
Paid in full.
Boom.
Pull the receipts. Korea, what kind of receipts you got? What's in your purse? You feel me? Like we got all these freaking receipts in the purse and we forget about them. We need to go pull out that purse, that wallet, that hacky snack, whatever y'all call it, because y'all, that's the hack. the receipts. I'm gonna have to create some content on that. I like it. I like it. I like it. Anybody want to expound on what I just shared before we continue with resiliency stories?
I guess I'll jump. So me, this is my second go round entrepreneurship, right? The first go round, it was forced, to be honest. I was terminated from a job and I was angry, right? Nobody's gonna ever tell my children they won't eat. So I was like, you know what? I got this 401k. I got this stacked up. I'm about to go invest this. You know what? I'm about to go create this auto glass business and we going in. My wife was like, oh my God, I've never seen you so passionate. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna work. 4 months later, I'm looking on Indeed for a job. Right. So here I am again now. 2 kids now. Mind you, the first time it was 1 child. Now I got 2 children. And here we go again. The job I was at, excuse me, we had a situation where there was no longer time for me to be there financially as well as time-wise. But then I realized like, yo, I was fearful of leaving. So instead of leaving my job, I milked it. So they told me to come to work at 8 o'clock. I got there at 10. They told me to leave at 5. I left at 3. You know what I mean? So, and in all actuality, what I was really doing was avoiding the fact that I didn't want the responsibility of those 5 hours in my business. I've gotten comfortable of just working after hours on the few hours I had on and making it in my side business. But I was so fearful of actually making this my whole thing, even though the money is way, way different. So I'm saying to myself, what is the problem? And one thing I've learned is that you can't fight something if you don't see it. If an invisible person walked in the house right now and slapped me, who would I fight back? How would I fight? How would I defend myself? So you have to identify whatever it is. So I said, you know what? What am I so fearful of? My fear is one Friday, I don't see a check. Mm-hmm. But then once again, the receipt shows that I've made more money in the first quarter of this year than I've made all of last year. So what kind of fear do I really have? So the truth is I had to step out and say, you know what? Get off of your laurels. Those 4 or 5 hours that you was trying to give to somebody else, give it to yourself now. And whatever the results is, you're man enough to live with. So I had to say, you know what? I've looked in the barrels of guns. I've been in situations I shouldn't have been. And yet and still, I'm sitting right here on this podcast right now. So guess what? I might as well step out. So it's been 3 months, almost 3.5 months now. I've been deployed because I'm no longer employed.
Bar. RJD rolling in with the bar. He said, I'm deployed. Come on now. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get gully. Okay, I'll stop. All right. I don't want to breeze over anybody. Yeah, I said gully. Don't ask me where I got that from. But anyway, I don't want to breeze over anybody. Anybody else want to touch on the being bullied piece and how, you know, in the moment we were like, oh my God, what was me? But now it's like, I'm empowered. I don't know if anybody can relate.
Yeah. I'll say this, LaShana. A lot of times what we do when we have grown up around bullies or bullying, even if it was in our household, that becomes our internal voice. And that's why it's so hard to dismiss it. I remember being younger, and yeah, I've had some tough things to happen as well. And I remember learning just in that space again by myself to tell myself what I needed to hear. I learned to stop beating up on myself. I was like, that doesn't feel good. Like, if I could have opened up my brain and said, leave me alone, I would have. Because it's like sometimes we can be our own worst critic. And how can we navigate through the world and let our light shine if we're critiquing ourselves so much? Lately, it's been stop with so much self-improvement that you forget to self-approve yourself. So going from critic to your own inner hype man, your own inner coach, your own inner hype woman, and then going into a space of I'm approving myself. I approve of myself. Not I allow, I permit. No, I can do whatever I want. I am approving. I am in agreement with myself. And it's like that will free you up. So yes, those things that we went through, they helped us to ultimately become everything that we're supposed to be.
I approve this message.
What?
Period.
What?
Yes. Who else wants to share? Like, this is very organic. We definitely going to get the resiliency stories popping. But I want to make sure that I'm not breezing over anyone. How y'all feeling? Let's just do a neutral check-in. Fill your posts. Fill your posts now. Okay. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I'll touch on as far as bullying real quick. As far as for me, I got bullied as a kid, and I even took on the idea of what other people thought of me. So because other people may have found me unattractive or something like that, I actually took that idea on and started saying, well, you know what? I don't think that I'm that attractive, but I got cute features, right? And so I had to realize I got to let go of what somebody gave to me. That don't even belong to me. So I started coming up with the idea of saying I need to play hot potato with that. It's not mine. You know what? I need to get rid of this real fast, because if I do, I'm hurting myself. And so now I started becoming the bully of myself. I started bullying myself. And so I realized that what we have to do is look at the aspect of, if you're in a fight with somebody, well, you're not going to punch yourself in the face because you already lost. So I had to stop punching myself in the face and started telling myself, you know what? Those things or those ideas that other people feel, that's for them. That's not for you. Stop bullying yourself and stop beating up yourself.
Bar. I like the hot potato analogy too, y'all. We got to know when we holding something and it's not good for us, we got to let that thing go. I know I'm doing it like a basketball, but hot potato, yeah, that's another content idea. I'm about to be stealing some content ideas from y'all today now. All right. Anybody else want to share before we tap back into the resiliency stories?
Yeah, I'll share. So my story, when I was younger, I was always kind of like the leader. Not kind of, I was the leader, like, of my peers. I'm talking about like 4th, 5th grade, junior high. And I allowed, when you say bully, I wasn't really bullied, like people, had me in the corner and had me scared. It was more so I was very bold. I wasn't a follower, so I would do things myself. So people were intimidated by that. So I guess the so-called bullies would kind of say, oh, who does she think she is? She thinks she's different. And over the years, I allowed that to make me dumb myself down. I allowed that to make me shrink. So I guess that would be considered bullying, because I started noticing that not so much, I guess it was that I was trying to fit in, not so much I was trying to fit in to be with them, but I was like, in my mind, well, I don't want to come off like I'm better than everybody else. So let me kind of be quiet on certain things, so sometimes that can be considered as bullying as well. And I noticed that it carried along in my adult life, because it will make you second guess yourself, like when you're trying to make a decision, or you know the answer, but you're double-minded. And the Bible says if you're double-minded in all your ways. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So every decision that you're making, you're kind of like, well, should I? Well, maybe this is not right. Well, I don't trust my judgment. Whereas before, you trusted everything about it. But because some people say, why don't you just bring it down a little bit? You're a little too much. So yeah, that would be considered bullying too.
Yes. And you know what? That indecisiveness, that's pattern of behavior. So as we're doing that as kids and we grow up as adults, second guessing, limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome. And I just went to Google and it says bully, to seek harm, intimidate, or coerce someone perceived as vulnerable. So any kind of intimidation.
Yeah.
And think of the word excessive. It's happening all the time. And to go another level, it makes you change your behavior. So you might want to put on red lipstick or red nail polish or your glittery shirt, and you changed your mind because Keisha always says something about the way you dress. So yes, most definitely, no matter how big or how small. But I love that last part that you said, is that at the end of the day, like when you're overthinking and second guessing, that makes an impact on you, but it's up to us if we're going to let it make a long impact or short impact.
Yeah.
Most definitely. All right. So let's get some more introductions If you have not introduced yourself formally, I know you got on the mic and you shared, but we really want to know who you are and what you do. If you haven't been able to do that, please come off the mic and go ahead and share for us.
All right, I'll go. So I'm Manny. I'm the owner of Manny Hall and Associates. I started it back in 2017, and I'm helping business owners, entrepreneurs, large or small, really get to that next level. But my passion as a brand strategist, I love working with individuals one-on-one to really look at their mindset, their limiting beliefs, what fears they're holding on to, what insecurities they have. And it really caught a lot of clients off guard when I took this approach early on with branding, because they said, well, Manny, this isn't part of marketing. Why the heck are we even talking about my mindset? What does this have to do with it? When I said, well, this is a part of your brand because you're representing to the world who you think that you are. And they say, well, I don't really understand that. I said, listen, the person that you think that you are on the inside, that's the person that you're constantly showing the world on social media, at your job, with your family, friendships, and all of that. So using this approach, it really allowed their business to transform because they started to believe in themselves. And they said, well, Manny, look, I just hit 6 figures this year. How the heck did I do this? Because you started to see yourself differently. And this is the best, funnest part for me doing branding, doing marketing, is helping individuals with their mindset. Because once that shifts, then you start to unlock this amazing person that's always been there the whole time, but you finally gave them permission to come out.
Bar and Manny, I know you experienced a DISC assessment with me. A few of you guys have. Korea is also DISC certified. And what I think about is a DISC assessment, you know, that self-awareness piece when you're looking at decisiveness and making decisions and how you are with people and all that stuff. And it digs so deep of things that we weren't even aware of, all the way to our blind spots and how that's been holding us back. So I had to give the DISC a plug because when I hear you talk, Manny, I just go back to the DISC experience that we had. And I'm so excited that you're here today. So thanks for sharing. You know, I'm a mindset mother. So who wants to introduce themselves next, and we'll continue with our resiliency stories.
Hello, my name is Arvella Beckworth. I am along with finding things that focus, basically finding more time focusing on things that matter. How fear plays in my life is going through domestic violence. I started to second guess myself because growing up, I had the self-esteem. I knew I could do it.
You're cutting out, Arvilla. I'll see if she comes back in. While we're waiting on her, let's get one more. Let's get one more intro, and then we'll see if she's available. Anybody else have not went yet?
I'll go. So my name is Kendra Ward, and I'm a purpose coach for women. I help them to get back to their purpose and monetize their life experiences. And I just did a recent shift. And the reason why coming up, I've always known what I was supposed to do. God showed me at age 3, honestly. And people don't believe that, but I always knew what I was supposed to do. But about 11 years ago, my life kind of shifted and some things happened in my life and it kind of took me off track. So I was kind of weeble wobbling throughout the years and I kind of got off of walking in my purpose and I started doing other things. Thank God all things work together for your good because God got me back on track. So I am here to help other women, get back to their purpose. A lot of times we have purpose coaches or coaches saying, I'm going to help you find your purpose. But I'm a sole believer that when you're young, you're actually walking in your purpose. Your parents, their job is just to pay attention and to hone it. I don't think somebody starts doing what they're supposed to do at 20, 30, and 40. You've always been doing it as a little child. And this is why I tell parents, pay attention to your children because they're literally doing what they're called to do. But it's that when life kicks in, we kind of go over here, go over there, go over there. So I like to help women get back to their purpose and then they can monetize their life experiences. So that's what I do. Oh, and I also have a movement called Rise, Reposition, and Rebuild. I have a new book. I'm an author of 11 books, and I have a new book coming out on my birthday, August 7th. And I have about 12 to 15 contributing authors of women. We're telling our story of how we overcame like our darkest moments. So look out for that. So I'm super excited, and I'll be having a conference in November.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Kendra, I'm so excited for you and that clarity, sis, because we was working together, and
that's when I'm telling you.
Yeah, but this is the thing. This has to happen in order for you to get this.
That's true.
It has to happen. Like a lot of us are doing this right now, even if we're making revenue, even if we think we got it all together. No, we don't. And it looks like you're in your pocket, and you're still going to get even laser
clear. Yes.
Even deeper. But that's the beauty of the try, test, and tweak. You don't know until you actually do something, and then your heartstrings are not pulling like you thought. You know what I'm saying? And then you just go through the motions. But the thing I've seen you do is stay persistent.
Because I'm gonna be honest, like when you're trying this, not really trying, but you thinking that's the thing. When you sit down in actuality, it's like, I'm just really doing this to pay my bills though. Like, you know what I mean? So I was listening to somebody, and I'm gonna go really quickly. They said, passion is you, purpose is God. You know what I mean? And I really took hold of that. Like I think they said it on the morning meetup this morning. And I really took hold of that. And I'm like, you know what? That's really, really good. Because sometimes we can be so passionate about something, but when you really look deep, it's like, if I wasn't getting paid for this, would I really be doing this every day? You know what I mean? So thank God for the clarity.
Good for you, sis. I'm excited for you. Let's go. All right, we're going to take a pause and do some more resiliency stories. I got Coach Love, then Carl. Coach Love, share with us, sis.
Hi. So y'all know, like in real life, I'm like this little miniature thug. I'm going to piggyback off of what Dr. Kim said earlier about taking action. Me and Fear, if y'all remember the song Nuck If You Buck, that's me and Fear. We get it in all day, every day. I remember growing up, my dad used to always be like just crazy. You so crazy, you don't even be scared to do nothing. And I'm like, for what? Especially not here on earth. It's only one entity in this whole world I fear. That doesn't exist here on earth. So what am I scared of? I'm scared of what people gonna say, what they gonna think. No, I'm not gonna tell y'all I wasn't bullied, because I was, but I was the person when the bully came, they're like, I'm gonna beat you up, little girl. I'm like, well, let's have it. Let's just have it. Let's just get it done now, so that you can realize right now, today, you can't bully me after the day. So I was fighting. I got like 2 really good fights because of bullies. What happened? I dealt with the consequence. But at the end of the day, yeah, I got suspended. My parents were mad. I had to be on lockdown in the school with the dean. But guess what? When I came out, I wasn't scared, because my thought was, listen, we just made an awesome example. So I look at fear like that's my guide to let me know it's about to be real dope. Whatever I'm about to do, it's about to be a real true character building moment. So I don't really look at it like, oh, I should be scared. I'm like, bet fear right here. So I'm like, all right, let's go, because we're gonna keep going anyway. So I guess I'm like that rebel without a cause. Fear don't mean nothing to me. It's just, okay, I see you, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do what I'm not supposed to be doing. So I think it's great to have it. Like, fear is like always in your gut, but guess what else is in my gut all the time? My intuition. So like, it's always this feeling like no matter what, me and fear, listen, let's go. Let's have it. Because I'm still going to do what I need to do. And I think that's what, like LaShana said, everything we've experienced in life, that's what brought me to the space of the same thing Kendra said. All my life, I've probably been a purpose that, I've had this idea that I need to represent what love really is, like in real time, like real life. Not the little cute love, but I tell people all the time, if you talking to me, you're going to get some good love, you get some tough love, but you're going to get that really good love too, because that's what love is like, so that encompasses that sometimes you're going to be scared, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't go through and do the things that you need to walk in. So that's how me and fear get down. And I like to see fear every day, because I know that means I'm going to grow.
And that's on a period, okay? Listen, man, it's time to pull up what's up, period. You was a fighter, I already know. Look at you with your muscles. Look at you, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Anyways, I love it. I see Arbilla is back. Arvilla, let's test your reception. Can you do your intro again for us? Because we couldn't hear you. Maybe not. Let's see. All right, I'll come back to her. Carl Burnside, what it was, we want to hear about your resiliency story.
Yeah, how you doing? I listen to everybody. For mine, it was unique. My biggest fear growing up was failing my father. My family comes from great poverty in the South. Moved up north, worked really hard, make a difference. My father's a hard worker, is my inspiration, my hero. So I think for me, growing up in the hood, seeing dead bodies on the street, dodging shootouts, bullets in my mama's house, like you know, brothers in and out of jail. Like I've seen everything, and I think I experienced a lot. You know, for me, the failure of staying there, that was the biggest fear. Being stuck, knowing my potential, knowing what I was called to be, knowing my purpose at a very early age. I think I made people uncomfortable with the way I talk. When I would say, yeah, I'm gonna be a millionaire, I'm gonna be a billionaire, I'm gonna build businesses, I'm gonna create legacy, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna make a difference. And when I talk like that, it made a lot of people uncomfortable and there's a lot of resistance. And I had to overcome a lot of self-doubt, a lot of people projecting their fears on me. You're not supposed to do that. Somebody look like you ain't supposed to talk like that, ain't supposed to do any of that. And so for me, it was overcoming generations. It's not curses. Generational curses really just lessons passed down, fears passed down, lack of healing and traumas passed down from generation to generation. And for me, it was on me to say the buck stops here. So my biggest fear was not doing that, not accomplishing that. And very few people understood that. So that fear of failing is what drove me, and the resistance that people gave me. When the more they said I couldn't do something, the more they said that I wouldn't be nothing, the more that they tried to talk against me, speak on my name, it just drove me to go harder. And that's why very few people really understand why I'm driven the way I am, why I'm built the way I am, why I take the chances and the risks I take, is because I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for my legacy. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my father, rest in peace, who's deceased. I'm doing it for something much greater than me. And not accomplishing my goal and fulfilling my purpose is the greatest fear I would ever have in life, outside of my fear of God.
Can we come off mute, y'all?
Yes.
Snaps. Come off of mute. That was so deep on several levels. Thank you, Carl, for sharing that. Wow. All right. Kendra Ward, you didn't share yours yet. You shared on something else. What would you like to share with us, sis?
As far as resiliency, well, I'll talk about my story briefly about being a single mom. So I got pregnant at 15. I had my oldest son at 16. So I have a 29-year-old and a 7-year-old. And so I got pregnant at 16. So I was a very determined person. I've always done hair. One of my gifts was hair. So I made my money, doing that. And I never really fell into the stigma of depending on guys and things of that nature. But I had a very strict stepfather. And I had kind of not a stubborn personality, but because my stepfather was so strict, I would always buck because he was just like a drill sergeant. So fast forward, I moved out at the age of 18, always lived on my own, taking care of myself. But then I fell into the pattern of, certain men coming into my life and just, a little low self-esteem had like trickled in there. But I gave my life back to Christ at like age 23. And then I moved to New Jersey and God just blessed me abundantly, like literally thousands of dollars a week just doing hair, being able to put my son in the best schools and just, and when I say this, people like, what? I was abstinent from the age of 23 until 36. And people like, how the heck did you do that? because I was so promiscuous before that. I started having sex at the age of 12. You know, back in the day, I don't know if you guys, I'm from Philly, so I don't know if you guys know about like the party line and things like that back in the day. So, you know, I was meeting guys because I was living in this rebellious state because my stepfather was so strict, and I was hooky in school. By the grace of God, I passed every grade, you know, and it's in my first book. My first book is an autobiography, so I'm just like chopping it up. But the resiliency part comes in when I moved to New Jersey. I said, it has to be a better life. I'm moving my son out the hood because I lived in West Philly. And I'm like, I'm moving him out the hood and I want to move to a better place. So in New Jersey, God just blessed, you know, he blessed my business. I was able to put him in great schools. I met some of my best friends that I have to this day. And I got really committed. And it really went uphill from there. So I'm gonna say that's one of my stories of resiliency. And not only that, he placed certain women, and that's how I know, well, I've been knew that was my ministry, but he placed certain women in my life that was because I was, you know, physically abused as well in some of my relationships. I had a gun pulled on me. I was looking at a barrel too. You know, I had my ankle twisted, all those kind of things, because my son's father used to sell drugs. So you know, he placed so many people, so many women in my life at that time where I was ministering to. I knew nothing about coaching and all that stuff. It was just authentically coming out. That was naturally who I was. I was like, listen, we're going to do this. I was giving people strategies. This how you're going to lead. We're going to do that. You know, and I used to teach in the prisons as well, like in the women's prison. So that was my story of resiliency, because that life that I lived could have actually taken me out of here, you know? I never did drugs, like hard drugs or anything, but I used to go to the bars and I had to be carried out, and I, you know, would smoke weed and stuff. That was before I knew where I was going, because I got lost in this era of trying to prove myself to my stepfather. See, it all boils down to I was becoming an overachiever. And a lot of times people brag on being an overachiever, but that's not always good, because now you got to go back to your roots. Why am I trying to be an overachiever? Who am I actually trying to prove myself to? Because I was like, because I remember he made this one statement, and God rest his soul, but he's a part of my story. I remember we were at dinner one day, my stepfather, me, and my mom, and he said, I'm really proud of you because you don't have 5 kids by now and you're not on welfare. Now, to him, that was a compliment, but to me, it was an insult. So I found myself throughout the years trying to prove, like, I ain't, watch this, I ain't going, you know what I mean? So that kind of trickles over into your adult life. And now you're 30 and 40 and you're still trying to prove yourself to people. You know, so this is when you have to really understand and take a deep introspect of your life and see why you are doing the things that you do. So that's just one of my small stories of, you know, resiliency.
Wow. And that's why you help ladies with their purpose. That right there, sis. And I can't wait. So you got 2 books out right now?
Well, one is coming out. I just created the workbook. Well, this is the last one. This is the last one I created. But I have one coming out on my birthday, August 7th. And I'll be in South Carolina on that day at a women's conference speaking.
Let's go. Come on. Okay, sis. Period. Make sure you give me the link.
Make sure we get the copies, Kendra. Come on, Billy, come through. Come through.
Yeah, make sure you give me the link so I can drop it in the YouTube notes, okay? And that's for all of you guys. If you have any links that I need, just shoot them to me and I'll put them in the YouTube notes. Wow. How y'all feeling? Like, I want to hear from Jenny. I want to hear from Korea and RJD. I haven't heard from y'all in a minute. How y'all feeling? What's really good?
Well, yeah, coach, I'm over here and soaking it up, to be honest, because what I'm doing, I'm gonna tell you the truth. What I've learned to do is listen, right? Because we have 2 ears. We have 1 mouth for a reason. And what I've learned now while I'm listening, to take things from people's story and place them in my reservoir, right? Because the days when I don't feel like RJD, right? The days I don't feel like being the character and confidence building coach. Those days where I don't even want to just get up and just be an individual, I could reach back into the reservoir and say, you know, my sister Kendra, if she can make it, my coach LaShana, if she can make it, if Carl can make it, if Coach Love can make it, damn it, why am I sitting here struggling? I got a team of people that just poured their stories into my life. So now I have the reservoir. So guess what? When I'm down and I don't have the energy of my own, I can manifest it through the stories and the resilient stories of others, of my sisters and brothers, because I've learned that our testimony is somebody else's therapy. So I'm definitely using this to go forward and make sure that I hold it in the back of my reservoir for those cloudy days.
I love it. How you feeling, Jenny?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm taking it all in, and I appreciate the series. I didn't say this at the top of the conversation, but I really appreciate this because it's something that I'm dealing with right now in life, and I think a lot of times um, we present ourselves one way, and we don't really talk about like the real issues. And fear is a real issue. And I can say for myself, last year I made a decision out of fear, and just this conversation is really making me think back on that and think back over life and how I continue to make decisions out of fear. And it's holding me back from living the life of my dreams, and for really going after what I want and showing up fully as myself. So I'm taking it in. This is really blessing me on so many levels. And I know this is going to help so many people. So thank you. Thank you for the series, and thank you for this conversation.
No problem. Thank you for sharing that, because I know a lot of us can relate. But at the end of the day, we know we are more powerful than fear. It's so minute when we think of our purpose, our impact. Like if you think of a slice of pie, fear is like a freaking slithered so small that you can't even really pick it up. But we envision it to be so much bigger. So really, we're playing ourselves. And once we realize that and we get on the other side of it, we be like, what in the world? I was tripping. And that's okay, because it's all a learning opportunity.
Hey, Coach.
What's up?
You know what's so crazy is that we don't realize, and I heard this from one of my clients just recently, is that if we hadn't went through what we've been through and made it through it, our clients would suffer. The people who was connected to our life would struggle, and they might even die. Not just physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. They're tied to our purpose. So the fact that we actually going through things is not for us. Like what we're going through is not for our own personal gifts. That's for the people that we come in contact with. So on the other side is fear is definitely our help for not us, but the people we serve though.
Drea, you came off mute. Did you want to share?
Yeah, I wanted to say something about Jenny because she said she was actually going through this right now. And the key word that she said was going through. So that doesn't mean that she's at a standstill. That doesn't mean that she's being stagnant, but she's actually moving. I think that's the best thing that you can do when fear tries to come at you is keep going. Don't let nothing stop you. Stay in the midst of faith-filled people and allow the faith to lead you and not the fear.
I wanted to say something about that. I was watching Tyler Perry on YouTube, and he was at one of those churches. Anyway, he was saying climb and maintain. So when you said you heard that, when you said that, it reminded me when he said no matter what's going on, don't focus on it, just climb and maintain. Like how a pilot climbs and maintain, and then once you continue to climb and maintain, all that stuff beneath you, it's like, oh, I didn't even know that was going on. So yeah.
Yo, I got this story. My one of my buddies was out in Seattle, and they were on this boat, and they were on these boats. It was a couple of them, like three to a boat, and they had to go 10 miles one way on the ocean. They didn't know, and so some of these guys could swim, some couldn't, and a few of the guys started getting sick. And as they got sick, the guide would tell them, "Hey, when you get sick, you can't look to the side. You can't go to the side to throw up. If you look to the side and try to throw up on the side, you're gonna tip everybody over. Everybody gonna be in the water. You're in the ocean. You don't really know what's down there. You gotta focus on the horizon." And he looked at the guy and said, "Well, how can I not see the water when I'm surrounded by water? Everywhere's the water." The guy's trying to explain to focus on the horizon where the sun is, where the sun set, where the sun comes up. You gotta focus on your goal. You gotta focus on your direction, your pathway, where you're going. You can't stop and be sick and try to look to the side and be paying attention to your fears. You got to focus on your goal, because that's what's gonna lead you through your fears, through the water, through the distractions, through everything that you think is in that water. You just gotta focus on the horizon. That's right. See the light, focus. walk in the light and you will make it, because to be honest, most of our fears are illusions. They're not real threats. We're just looking at manifestations of insecurities and brokenness within ourselves and with those around. They're not really real. They're not real. They're just distractions. So you got to have something you can focus and hone in on that can get you, as she say, get you through. I thought about that when she said get you through. I just wanted to share that.
Bar. Y'all dropping bars tonight. I guess we rapping, because man, that word horizon just really stood out for me. I love it. If anybody's curious as to why I created the Dear Fear series, is because that was my way of coping with something I was fearful about. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I have an issue, I have to get it out of my head and into the universe. So by me talking about it and hearing other people's stories and asking them how they deal with it and me sharing how I deal with it, that helped me to propel to my decision, which was transitioning from my 9-to-5. Super scared to do it, right? So I created something where I could talk about it. I can't sit here and just talk to myself. So I talked about it and shared it with the world. And here we are at a table talk and 10 podcast sessions later of fear. So I want to know, what is your coping strategy? That's the mental health hat in me. That's literally what I call it, but you can call it whatever you want. What do you do in the moment? What's in your arsenal? What's in your toolbox when you're fearful, when you're faced with adversity? What is your go-to? Just want to hear from you guys.
For me personally, I just move forward in it. I'm not, I think with the amount of resiliency that I've faced over time, it's just allowed me to just move forward in it when there's something that doesn't feel comfortable. And it's something that doesn't feel like is completely opposite of maybe even what I want to do. I wouldn't even say for one of my, even what I say, one of my callings, which is my nonprofit organization. One of the biggest things that have kept me from staying, for it kind of being just a name to it actually growing into a thing, has been because what if, I don't get the contracts that I need, right? I completely let go of my business, which I think, is it Kendra? I spoke about earlier in regards to where I'm passionate about business, but knowing that my purpose and my calling is completely towards girls in trauma, right? And so, letting the business aspect go and really, really completely focusing on that particular thing, I think is, has been a struggle. And, but, having to move forward and push myself forward and knowing, whatever it is, I've done much more harder things, and I was made to do harder things, and, just pushing towards it. So yeah, I would say for me, that's my coping mechanism for sure.
Thank you. Who else wants to share?
So I give my coping mechanism. Let me introduce myself. My name is Victor Freeman, also known as Mr. Mindful Minute. My business is helping men and women to develop a mindset of greatness using affirmations and visualization, to let them know that they need to tap into their greatness, because greatness is a mindset and it is not circumstances. Because if your greatness was circumstantial, then when circumstances were not good or favorable, then you would no longer be great. So your greatness is not circumstances, it is in your mindset. So developing that. But my coping mechanism is, whenever I'm experiencing fear or doubt, there is something that I say to myself. I say, speak it, hear it, believe it. That's what I say to myself. And I put my hand on my heart. And because I'm connecting my physical with my emotional and my mental at the same time. And so whatever it is that I don't want to do or I'm afraid of, I'll say, speak it, hear it, believe it. I can accomplish this. Speak it, hear it, believe it. I am not afraid. Speak it, hear it, believe it. I will get this done. Speak it, hear it, believe. So I keep doing this. This becomes the affirmation that I'm reminding myself. And the reason that I put my hand on my heart is because I'm connecting myself with myself to remind myself that there's a feeling that I actually need to get. And so because of the things that we create in our mind, by us speaking it to ourselves and we hearing it, we now actually develop the idea that we want to become. And so now I start visualizing that person and what I'm saying to myself. And so that is my coping mechanism.
Thank you. I'm definitely going to be using that. Appreciate you. Who else wants to share their hack, their strategy, their coping skill to combat fear?
I'll share. Oh, was that Dr. Kim?
Go ahead, girl. You got it.
So mine, I would say, and everybody knows this phrase, but it's feel the fear and do it anyway. And that's really my coping mechanism. And so, for example, I shared my resiliency story and how I grew up with really low self-esteem. And one thing that came out of that was a fear of social settings and socializing and speaking up and expressing my thoughts. And that carried into my adulthood. I was so afraid of networking events. And, one way that I've worked to overcome that is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And so I would put myself in situations, and that's actually how I met Miss West Creative Coach. And so I would, for example, just go on Eventbrite and look up events, and I found an event that LaShana was doing, and we immediately or instantly connected. So I would say that phrase, embodying that phrase has helped me to combat and overcome fear. Feel it and do it anyway. And fast forward, had I not done it, I wouldn't be able to say today, I'm an inspirational speaker and I'm a published author. And I love sharing my story with people and helping others overcome the same fears and challenges that I have.
So happy for you. I remember when you came to the Thai restaurant, it was a Boots and Blazers event. Y'all, I'll be coming up with these cool names. I said, we about to wear boots and blazers, come through. She came, she immediately connected and been rocking ever since. So Jenny, I'm so excited for you. And our birthdays are on the same day, right?
Scorpios, birthday twins, love it.
Scorpios rule for the ones.
Yes.
Amazing. Let's get some more coping skill shares, because my goal is for us to add things in our toolbox to make it bigger, right? We got about 10 people on here, so you should leave with at least 5 new coping strategies. Who's next?
I'll go next, LaShana. Hey guys, this is Arvilla. I finally got signal. I'm an over-the-road truck driver, and T-Mobile said they're everywhere, and they're not. So now that I'm settled, one of my coping mechanisms is I take time out and I assess it. I have to figure out what the fear is, because sometimes when I take a step back and realize what am I doing or what am I putting in my mind to make it feel like a fear or feel like I'm at flight or fight moment, 9 times out of 10 is something that I put on myself. It's nothing that someone told me, nothing that a circumstance that happened. I'm doing it to myself because I'm like, am I good enough? Am I this? Am I that? And it's like, well, wait a minute, take a step back. What are you really afraid of? Are you afraid of what others will think? Are you afraid that you're not good enough? So I have to take mechanisms where I have to look at the situation for what it is and step back and see where I can be more proactive instead of reactive in the situation for myself. So that's what I do.
Thank you, sis. And you super clear. You know what I'm saying? Come through.
Finally.
I love it. Who's next?
Hey, Coach, I'll go really quick. I've learned to just really sit in it, right? Whatever that fear is, sit in it for a moment. Because one thing I've learned is that, like I said earlier, if you don't know what it is, you can't fight it. If you don't reveal it, you can't heal it. So I realized it's like, I'm gonna sit in and find out what it is. For the sake of time, I'll tell you a quick story. I went to the gym, and before I went to the gym, I took one of these new pre-workouts, right? Full of caffeine, full of all the stuff that you ain't supposed to have in your body. Now, I had a phenomenal workout, but the workout got cut short because I had to come home early. So I'm sitting in the car and I have a meeting that I must get to. And I'm feeling this crazy anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm sweaty. My palms is like, I'm like, I do interviews all the time. What's going on? And I'm like, yo, I can't figure this out. So I came home, my wife said, what's going on? I said, you know what? Let me just sit and think, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? What's going on with you? Come to find out, I drank this pre-workout and I haven't had enough energy, haven't had enough workout to get rid of all the caffeine inside of my body. So I'm feeling the results of it. But had I not paid attention and sat in it, I would have said, you know what? I'm fearful of having this interview and not did the interview. Come to find out, after the interview, I got 4 new clients. So I would have missed out on an opportunity where it blessed my family, all because I would have avoided the fear, right? I would have not sat in it and figured out what it was. So I've learned to just sit in it, because I used to run from it. I'm not gonna lie, I was one that run from it and avoid it. So now that I've learned that sitting in it, and once I'm able to see what it is and what it's really worth, like Carl said, it's false evidence appearing real. It's not even real, and there's no data on me, my fears anyway. So it's pointless, and I realize I keep moving at that point.
I love it. So I will share my coping skill. My first lead magnet, my first freebie was a perception worksheet. Dr. Kim, you remember it because you've experienced it. And there's 2 questions that you have to ask yourself when you have those negative thoughts, those limiting beliefs. Number 1, is there any supporting data? It's a yes or no. And is there any evidence? So if you say, oh, if I go there, nobody's going to talk to me, or, oh, if I apply, I'm not going to get the job, or, oh, if I launch this program, nobody's going to opt in. You got any supporting data? No. Is there any evidence? No. So that's not true. We're creating clouds of dust. I don't know if it's to help us to feel safe, if that's the pattern of behavior, that's what we've always done, fill in the blank, but it's not true. And until we do it and assess what went well, what needs to be tweaked, try, test, and tweak, then we're just talking a lot of this, right? So those are the 2 questions that I always ask myself and have my clients ask themselves when they make these statements. Is there any evidence, and is there any supporting data? And really, it's the same thing, but I'm just trying to make it more, right? But anyways, so that's my hack in coping skill. And then the other one I already shared with you guys, talk about it. Get it out into the universe, because then it's not in here, guys. If we keep it in here, it festers, it gets sticky, it gets stinky, and then who knows what comes out, right? Okay. Yeah, if my brother was on here, he'd be like, oh my God. But anyway, he's actually watching. Hey, Marvin. So any other coping skills before we go back into story shares?
Yeah, I'll share mine. So 2 things. I call out truth and I call bullshit. And the reason why I say that, I'm serious. Like, when anger gets in the mix for me and I get upset, it's the anger for me. I will start taking action. Like, this makes no sense at all. Like, stuff becomes illogical. I learned the difference, hey, there's irrational fears. And it's like, bro, what you talking about? Like no. So yeah, actually calling it out. So I speak to myself and I call forth things. I call forth truth. I will see in my mind that, hey, this is really not logical. So I will feel fear, and like that whole phrase of feel fear and do it anyway. And I'm not, stepping on anybody's toes, because some people literally can't. That's how they find their way through it. I think you said that, Jenny. I feel it, and then I just go on with it. So in an emotional space, with me, if I stay in my feelings, I'll go into that freeze or that flight or something like that. So I kind of got to go into my head, and I got to start confessing stuff out of my mouth so I can deal with it. And I will, a game that me and Andrea used to play on the phone, and she's one of my inner circle people. I love her. I really do. We would play the opposite game. Whatever it is you're afraid of, speak the opposite of it. Speak whatever it is that you need. And recently we started talking about, speaking and praying specifics over what it is that you want, because, God gave you authority and dominion over everything. And, we have that power to call forth things.
Listen, I'm not ready for you to stop talking. Keep going, sis. I'm like,
girl.
Look, I'm like, no, I ain't gonna put you on the spot, Dr. Kim. I love hearing you talk, because you be dropping it, sis. That's what's up. And the cool thing is, and I just put in the chat that I met Drea through Dr. Kim. It's so magical how we are connected through one person, and then it just grows from. If you look at the screen, you're like, okay, I met her through him, I met him through him, I met her through her, and that's why you got to be aligned with the right people. I always say assess people, places, and things that don't serve you. Because when they're in the way, you can't meet the ones who are ready to embark on your journey with you, serve you, and vice versa. So I just think it's super cool. I'm getting all these emotions just by thinking about the community that we're building and beyond. So we could stay on here all night, right? But what I want to do is get some more story shares. And I definitely don't want to get off of here until we share what we have on the horizon. So I'm going to do a couple more story shares. And then if anybody wants to actually look in the camera, look it dead in the face and talk to fear, I need some volunteers. Pop it in the chat so I can call on you. And we're going to keep it moving. So if I'm not mistaken, we have Vic up to share his resiliency story. And is there anybody else, because I want to make sure I'm not skipping you, that wants to share a resiliency story?
I don't want to share a resiliency story, but I do want to share a couple coping skills real quick. Okay. The first thing is I take a timeout. Whatever I'm doing, whatever is going on, what is the reason why I'm feeling this fear? So I got to take a timeout. And when I take that timeout, I'm either going to write down some faith-filled receipts. I'm going to write down some things that have happened to me that where I've actually overcame. I'm going to write down some things that I faced and I confronted and I actually overcame. Another thing I do is I don't try to be perfect anymore. A lot of times people say Virgos, they try to be perfect. But even though that is, one of the qualities, I take that off of me. That is not a part of me. And I visualize myself on the other side of fear. What do I look like? How am I in my happy place? And then something that I always like to do, I have a party. I am the celebration queen. I want to celebrate everything. So I celebrate myself on the other side of fear.
I love it. I see confetti, balloons. I see all of the things. I love it. And she said, I don't try to be perfect anymore. You are releasing yourself. Let's get it. All right. Any other coping skills before we move to Vic? All right, Vic, let's hear your resiliency story.
All right. So, obviously I have a few, but the one that I always usually share is when I went through depression and dealing with PTSD from a divorce that I went through. I didn't know who I was coming out of it. I didn't know who I was because I was so used to who we were. And I lost myself in that. And so my resiliency from that, and just even thinking about what resiliency means is the ability to actually recover. And so once I realized that I had to make a decision that I didn't like the feeling that I had, I made a choice of saying, am I going to do the hard work of redefining who I am? I actually started dating myself. I started falling in love with me. We are so used to being in love or loving somebody else, but we don't always love or be in love with ourselves first. And so I started doing that. And once I started doing that, I learned that it was a lot of things that I didn't like, I didn't want. And so once I actually went through that process, I said, man, I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was. See, if it wasn't for that situation, and this is why I say I don't really fall in the realms of good and bad. I fall into the realms of unfavorable and favorable. Because something that I say is good for me, well, my mind is already in acceptance mode for it being good. But what if it's one of the worst things that ever happened to me? And if my mind says something is bad, well, I am going to be conditioned and have a paradigm and only supplement everything that looks like that. And I don't even have the ability to see how it can actually be in my benefit. So I started to gravitate towards unfavorable and favorable energy. because now I am in control of the energy that comes in, whether it is favorable or unfavorable. And if it's unfavorable, now I can use that to make me better. So I actually believe that things happen for you. And we spoke about this before. It happens for you. It doesn't happen to you, because you do not become a victim anymore. You release the victimization mindset. And so I released the victimization mindset. Yes. And it really helped me to see that I had something within me that I didn't notice that I had. But had I not had that situation happen for me, I would not have the ability to see that I had something in here. So that is my resiliency story.
Thank you so much. You is preaching, snap, snap, snap. He is alluding to the book. I know with the light and stuff, you can't see it. It's called What Happened to You. And it's an amazing book. If anybody has struggled with trauma, or you have family who has struggled with it, actually, even if you in your mind, you think you haven't struggled with trauma, go get the book, What Happened to You by Oprah and Dr. Perry. But Vic reframed it for me, because it's not what happened to you, it's what happened for you. So even these big wigs, these millionaires, things of that nature, they get it wrong too. And I think that they got it wrong, because it continues to put you in a victimized state, but it's what happened for you. That one word shift can reframe your mindset about everything that you're experiencing with the book. So, and shout out to Korea, because I learned about it after seeing it on her story, and I seen it on somebody else's. I went and got it. I opened it up to my community, my coaching program. They all have it, because we're doing a mindset amplifier. So I'm telling y'all, when you make one decision and you go with your gut and you do it, it's not for you. It's for everybody else. So thank you, Korea, because I wouldn't have it had I not seen that you had it, and I got nosy and I did my due diligence and I got it myself. Okay. All right. Cool beans. So we are going to get into talking directly to fear. I'm gonna do it again, y'all. Right in the face. We're gonna talk to fear in the face. Let's see who ain't no punk today. Let's see who ain't no punk. All right. So we got Drea. Then we got RJD. Go ahead and put me in the chat, and I'll call on y'all in a minute. Drea, you are up. You talking right to fear. Looking dead in the face.
What up, fear? You serve your purpose. You serve your sentence. Your time is up. Your eviction notice is here. Guess what? Faith has stepped on the scene, and it has paid your debt in full. Yes, you had a debt. And guess what? You ain't got it no more, because faith has allowed me to step out of fear and to step into what God has called me to do. I am so thankful that you came, and I am so thankful that you gone. Deuces.
Period. Bye. I love it. I love it. I love it. RJD, you up. We're doing popcorn style, y'all. Let's get it.
Yo, Fear, what up, man? It's me again. The one that you came after when I was a child, right? The one you came after as a boy. But see, you had a really good scheme. You came at me when I was most vulnerable. You came at me when I had all my insecurities undealt with. But what you didn't realize is that while you took the turn to go get somebody else, you gave too much time for me to heal myself and heal the boy that you hurt. So guess what? I'm a man now. I'm a big boy now. You can't hurt me, because I now understand that you really don't exist. I'm talking to the frame of what I thought once actually existed in my life. So with that being said, who am I talking to? Beat it. You have no more place here. As a matter of fact, you have no more place in my life, period. So if you show your face around here again,
you're going to get shot in the butt. Man, listen, woo! I need some popcorn. This stuff get good. Okay. Yes, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right, so let's see. I want to make sure I'm not skipping nobody. We got Ginger, the friend, and then Victor.
Okay, here we go. Dear fear, you can no longer control me. I trust myself. I trust God. And from this moment forward, instead of listening to you, I will live the life of my dreams. That's it.
Mic
Period.
drop. I love it, Jenny. Whoo! The passion, y'all. And I got on a long sleeve shirt. I should have wore me something sleeveless. It's getting hot in here. Come on, Vic. What you got for us?
So, Fair, I just wanted to let you know something. I apologize because I made you think that it was okay for you to actually treat me the way that I was allowing you to treat me. But I'm here to let you know that I'm no longer accepting your behavior. And so, since I'm no longer accepting your behavior, I'm going to remove myself from your presence because I can't control what you do, but I can control how I respond. And so, I'm going to respond from removing myself from you. Deuces.
Assertive communication. That's all I want to say, period. Clear boundaries, assertive communication, and that's just that on that. All right, Coach Love, what you got for us? And make sure y'all put in the chat. I want to hear from y'all. Let's get it.
I just feel like y'all making Fear feel so disrespected right now, and that's good. That's good because he won't be back. I'm kind of feeling like my brother RJD. I was just gonna be like, Fear, like, what's good, player? Like, what you got for me? Bring it. Because at the end of the day, whatever you got is not gonna match the faith that I have in myself and the faith that I have in God. So let's grow. And I'm saying grow, GROW, because I know whatever you got for me, it's just going to be a character building moment that's going to allow me to grow forward. Deuces.
Short and sweet. Short and sweet. I'll go next until I see somebody in the chat. Crank, 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 crank. So here's the deal. Fear, I actually want to thank you because you sped up the decision that I was dragging my feet to make. And I feel so free. I feel lighter. Every day when I wake up, I just feel in abundance. And it's because of you. You actually tried to make me think that things were going to be harder on me. You tried to make me think that I wasn't capable of leaving a almost six-figure role. Well, guess what? I did, and I wish I would have done it sooner. So the only feedback I have for you is to come for me sooner so I can do what I need to do sooner. Mic drop. I need y'all to make some sounds. Come off of mute.
Come on.
Man, listen, there it is.
Thank you. My love language is words of affirmation. I need to hear some woo, woo. All right.
I'll like you playing spades. Drop it. Big Joker energy.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Listen, I asked for what I want. But anyway, Carl Burnside, it's your turn.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to fear, it's simple. I'm a God. I'm a king. God gave me dominion over everything in this world, including fear. See, I'm not the author of fear. So God is the greatest power. So fear has nothing on me. It's a footstool. So fear, I thank you. I appreciate you. And our relationship will show that no matter what you do, who you sin, how you show up, I'm going to always show you what power I truly have over you. You be blessed.
I love it. He said, you a footstool. Ooh, you ain't have to go give, you ain't have to do that to him.
He was all smooth. Be blessed, Fear, because I'm highly favored. I got you, Carl.
Yes. So we are talking to Fear right in the face. We got Dr. Kim up next. If anybody else wants to go before we go into our wrap up, let me know. Pop it in the chat, and I will call on you, Dr. I'm about to say Dr. Fear. Dr. Kimberly, you up?
I didn't know Fear could get a doctorate.
Girl, listen.
There might be something, a concept to explore. I like it. But yeah, okay, so conversation with fear or a rebuttal to fear. So first off, I'm gonna need you to take that bass out your voice and go have a seat. You're not gonna come in here and tell me what I got to do. That is not on the agenda. That did not pass the desk in the approval of God today. So my response to you is, I am anointed. I am completely confident in everything that I was meant to do, to put here to do today. And I have the authority. So, with that being said, you are allowed to be dismissed. Goodbye.
Bye, fear. I love it, Dr. Kim. I mean, you were literally talking directly to it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, Kendra, you are up.
All right. Okay, Fear, you got me. You got me several times. You sucker punched me quite a few times. But you know what? I'm so glad you did that. You know why? Because you literally catapulted me to my next dimension, right? So while you're sitting back laughing and thinking you have the upper hand, in actuality, I'm going to be the one laughing. I am the one laughing. So I'm going to tell you to take a back seat. I'm also going to tell you, come with something a little better than that, because literally you have a big bark with no teeth. So I actually want to apologize to myself in front of you because I allowed your bark to make me go into a place that I should not have went when I know doggone well I have the authority. So come whatever you want to come with, but at this point in time, you serve nothing in this home. Everything in this house is covered by the blood of Jesus Christ. You will no longer have any reign in this home over me, over my children. I will not pass any fear down to my children because literally you are just an imagination. You're not even real. So I apologize, number one, to God because I allowed you to try to take dominion and you're not even real. So goodbye, good riddance, and go on to somebody else. Peace.
Period. Listen, you're not even real. We up here playing imaginary friends. What we doing? I love that. I think we heard from everybody except for Korea. Okay. Anybody else want to go before we share how people can get connected with us and what we have on the horizon? That's what I want to wrap up with. Anybody else want to go? Okay, so really quick, how y'all feeling? What feedback do you have? Was this helpful? What did this bring up for you? Let's start with that. And then I want you to share what do you have on the horizon? How can people get tapped in with you and your platform? Whoever wants to go is popcorn style.
I do want to share at this point. I was listening in because I honestly I was in the seat of just learning and taking it in. I was able to resonate a lot with Carl in regards to what he spoke of in regards to the biggest fear of just not making it. I think that's a lot of what I personally deal with on a day-to-day basis. And then was more enlightened by what Condra had brought up as well. I love Coach Love's personality, and Andrea, and how she was able to literally use the word and taking the word and literally using it and applying it daily. I think is beautiful. And Jenny just being able to speak of her resilience, even through as she's going through right now. And just everybody, I think that, cause I ain't gonna go through the whole thing, but everybody definitely just poured a lot tonight. And I just want to thank y'all, honestly, for pouring. And it was absolutely amazing. And thank you, LaShana, for having me. And that's pretty much it.
You are very welcome. What do you have on the horizon? How can we get tapped in? I don't know how she just froze. Korea, did you want to share anything you have on the horizon?
Well, right now I'm currently in the works of for my nonprofit is literally getting some contracts with some schools. So that's first and foremost. And then with Business Wise, which is my company, Fortress Consulting, currently am just helping business owners revamp and pivot. So that way they can literally live what they're called to do. And that's pretty much what I'm doing on a day-to-day.
Thank you. Thank
you.
All right, who we got next?
All right, I guess I'll go next. Excuse me. Well, Coach, this is phenomenal, right? This platform, this entire panel, because what it does, it helps me realize, like, yo, I'm not the only one, right? Like, for some reason, a lot of times we have this thing in our head, like we're the only ones that go through things, or we're the only ones that struggle with it, and it's like there's strength in numbers, especially when you realize your brothers and sisters are actually going through the same exact fight that you're going through. So it helps me realize, like, yo, you know what, my gas tank is low. I can still drive and pull something from someone else on the side of me that's actually going through the same struggles as I am. So this has been a really impactful event. We're not only in this moment, but going forward, because ever since our podcast, I've even started speaking of fear more often now, right? Like I talk to it. I say it out loud, like, because what you call a spade, you know what I'm saying? Like you call something by its name. And once you do that, you realize, like, yo, wait a minute, you're not even have that much control over me. So I'm just grateful, because I feel like I have another level of my confidence, another level of my own drive and vigor to go forward. So all I gotta say is watch out, world. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you thought you got tired of seeing me the last 2 years, y'all been seeing me. Watch out for the next 10, because like what I've learned over the last 2 years have literally changed the course of how I look at the last 10 years of my life. And now that I look at it from a place of power instead of place of pain and trauma, I'm now able to help other men do the same exact thing. And that right there is my purpose in life. So I'm very excited to say that right now that I only have space for 10 more individuals, 10 more men right now, which is crazy to even say that, because when this all started out, I was thinking to myself, there's no way I can get 30 individuals that needs my services. And here I am now, just needing 10 more left to meet that goal. So I'm blessed. I am blessed because everything I've went through it was really a test to show me that I can go for where I am right now and go even further. So if you want to reach out to me, I'm rjd.imperfectgentleman on Instagram. If you want any of my services, which is the I am perfect. And let me explain that really quick, because the I'm perfect method. Now, if you read my name, it's the imperfect. But if you actually look at the word and break the word down, it says I'm perfect. Because I realized that there's no man on this earth who's perfect. But once you realize that your imperfections are actually your true uniqueness and gift from God, you can walk in your perfection. And the only person that really can tell you if you're perfected or not is God. So at the end of the day, I have the imperfect method, where I break down to men everything from their integrity to their mindset to physical health, finances, and everything else. So if you have a man out there, if you are a man out there that struggles with your confidence, need help with your character, and just want to be a more effective man, husband, or father, definitely reach out to me. We can get that done in 3 months flat, and I can guarantee that.
Woo, let's get it. And I'll definitely have your link in the notes. Thank you so much. Who wants to share?
Listen, this right here is my Jewish. I love this type of environment. I love this energy. I am so elated. I always heard from one of my mentors, if you don't confront fear, it will confront you. So always face it head on. Don't allow things to confront you. You confront it. That's the one thing that I believe is like one of the biggest takeaways that I've always had in my heart, in my mind. And listening to everyone's story has been so rewarding. And instead of hearing the trauma, I heard the triumph. And I can just see how each and every one of us has literally came from the places of fear to places of faith and possibilities. I know that this next quarter, this next season, we are at the halfway point. So there are going to be a lot of things on the horizon for myself. I'll be doing my annual, I'm gonna call it an annual now, because last year was my first year doing it. And this will be my second year, where I do morning affirmations, and it is affirmations and prayer. And literally, this was like on the cusp of my mom passing away last year. So it was like God literally prepared me to not even walk in fear, but to be in such a position of peace and provision that it didn't hit me like normally I thought it would, but it really positioned me for my next level, the next place where God has wanted me to go. Retiring from the military has been something that I have dreamed of. And because I'm at this new place, I'm able to fully take all the plugging everything into my nonprofit, which is Super Supporters for Single Mothers, which will launch August 25th. Yes, August 25th, we'll be launching. And literally what that is a place where we support singles. You no longer have to feel alone. You are supported by the super supporters, and single doesn't mean single. It means that you are super anointed and you are next level, generational, ready to lead in purpose.
I'm loving that acronym. Congratulations on all of that good stuff. Thank you for your service. Listen, I'm excited for your next book because I know you have one that was already published. When the next one coming out, sis?
The next one, oh my gosh, the next one is coming out December 25th on Christmas Day. So get ready for that. And my last book, Blinded Without Blinders, you can go get it now on Amazon, only $3.99. It's a short read, but it's powerful. It tells the story of how a woman had walked, that woman was me, with blinders without actually having blinders on.
That's deep. Drop it in the chat and definitely send it to me so I can pop it in the YouTube note information. Thanks for sharing. All right, who we got? What was your takeaway from the event and what's on the horizon?
LaShana.
Hey.
You already know. Did LaShana tell y'all how I dated her before I started stalking her? I did it out of order. I dated her and then stalked her, and now everywhere she go, I go. Because it's really true that the people you surround yourself with, if you really want to be that dope person in the room, just surround yourself with more dope people. I just love that I've been with all of you, almost all of you, since last year. I found almost all of you indirectly through LaShana. So I think it's just dope that every time we have a topic, it's always something new to learn. It's always some new energy, some new information, some new wisdom to steal and, maybe capitalize on and monetize or something, because people don't, everything ain't copywritten. So whoever steal it first, y'all got it. Okay. But I just love that this conversation, we always have the real conversations. All of us are entrepreneurs. All of us are, our individual selves. We all have these dope roles that we play in life, but we all come together, and every single time I just feel this really warm on the inside, because this is the other side of our lives, right? People talk about entrepreneurship like it's just this fantastic thing, and it really is. There's really this real person that's developing, with everything they're doing. So I love that she always creates a safe space, because it's so important to have these kind of conversations. So I just appreciate that no matter how wild and fun and loud we get, I always feel safe in her spaces. And I have to also share that everyone that I ever invite to her space, they also feel that same way. They come and they come back. So that's a testament to LaShana and just everyone's character here. So thank you guys so much for that. What I got coming up, just more love, more tough love, more good love, more education, more wisdom shares. You guys know that, coaching can be intense. So I'm in the space right now of transitioning from individual one-on-one coaching to group coaching. So I'm actually designing a self-paced virtual coaching product for the men, because it's a lot, y'all. But I think the goal is to have the more impact. So then there's some writing going on. You guys know that I'm also an author. So just be prepared to see y'all timelines going up in this last couple of quarters. It's just gonna be lit, because I gotta get it all out. I gotta impact the world in as many possible ways as I can. Before the TV stuff happens, you guys. The TV is still coming, But you know how TV is. You got to be real tight-lipped, sign an NDA. You can't say much. But I promise you guys, everything that's coming, y'all going to see it. Y'all going to find. Instagram is my favorite place. I love the Instagram streets. Y'all can find me at One Coach Love because there really is only one Coach Love. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. You know, peace, love, and light. You know, I always send that from my heart to yours. And thank you guys so much for letting me be here. And LaShana, thank you, Queen. And I can't wait to meet all y'all in person. I can give y'all the biggest, warmest hugs ever because y'all my people and I love y'all.
Love you too, girl. Thanks for all the great feedback. Shameless plug, December 4th and 5th in Atlanta, I'm having a live 2-day accountability on demand business building retreat. So all of you guys are invited. The link is in my bio on Instagram. You meet right in person. So put your money where your mouth is. You got like 5 months to get your plane ticket and come on through. There's only a select number of spots, but definitely I would love to see you guys all in the house. All right, who we got next? What's your share and what do you have on the horizon?
Hey.
Oh, Dr. Kim, go ahead.
Go ahead, brother. Oh, okay then. All right. Well, thank you. So this has been an amazing time, well spent. I really appreciate this. LaShana, you've been so transparent. And I don't know if I told you this before, but like it was love at first sight when I met LaShana West. I was like, yes, I want her in a coach way. Don't y'all be thinking that else now, okay? Okay. Coaches. And you have to call it out. Sure. let me add that in there.
It's 2021,
yeah.
Doc.
Y'all, we know.
Okay.
Listen, hold time out. I always use the dating analogy. I dated my coach too. Y'all know we gotta peep them out, make sure they cool, make sure they legit. You buy a little low ticket item, you test it out. I don't know if y'all test out while y'all dating, but anyway, we have to do that. So it's okay that you guys dated me, but when we get married, I'm trying to put a ring on it. All right, go ahead.
Life. Come on, for life. Exactly. So yeah, you've been very vulnerable and transparent with this entire process and just witnessing the bravery, the growth, and just how your courage effect leaned into community and what you're doing for other people have been so phenomenal. So I've enjoyed I mean, it was so much here. If I had to say one thing, summing it was the fact that, meeting fear, dealing with fear, and overcoming fear is a part of the process. It's all a part of the process. It's like you're not going to be able to skip it or anything, but we also have to know this is not our destination. It's a process, but not a destination. We don't supposed to stay in the fear. We're supposed to move on from it. It's like a deflection thing. Your light is supposed to bounce off of the fear, not feed into it, so we can continue our journey and actually get to see more about ourselves. So that has been wonderful. I'm in a season of connectedness and just capability, just understanding more about mine as well. I mean, coming out of fear and stuff, because LaShana, you've seen the things that I've done and how I have been moving and stuff like that. So I definitely have been one who has been in the paralysis analysis trap in my mind and in my head, which is why I said, getting outside of myself in wonderful communities such as the one that LaShana has put together has really helped me to blossom and find my way through to navigate. So keeping up with the dating analogy, that's exactly where I feel like I am. And I've told LaShana this in the past that, hey, I really want to romanticize my life, romanticize, my business, and just be dateable. So I am looking forward to more one-on-one dynamic powerhouse conversations with people, just really helping them to go from a space of overwhelm to overflow, and talking about how they can shift their mindset and their habits to get to that next level that they're looking forward to in life. So the best way to keep in contact with me and to follow and to watch what's going on is my Instagram handle, and that's at Align with Dr. Kim. The link in there is not in there yet, but it will be to go in so we can do those conversations for people who are interested or people who are interested in doing more conversations such as the one that we're having now, because I am available for podcasts, speaking, all of those type of things as well. Thank you all so much for sharing and being in the space here today.
Thank you. Kendra, did you want to go? I know you on a time crunch.
Yes, thank you so much. This was absolutely phenomenal. I had a really good time with you guys. You can find me on all social media platforms at Kendra Ward. I have no nicknames, it's just Kendra Ward. Again, I have a conference coming up in November. I haven't solidified the date. It's probably going to be between the 15th and the 20th of November, but still look out. But my launch, my book launch is a pre-launch. It's coming out August 7th on my birthday. If you're not doing anything, I will be at a women's conference in South Carolina on August 7th. I will place that on my Instagram and my Facebook so you guys can see it. Also, I have a movement, like I said, called Rise, Reposition, and Rebuild. So I'm starting a podcast for the women. God has called me to women, like I mentioned earlier, to bring them back to their purpose, as well as helping them to heal over trauma. I went through some things not too long ago that I know that I had to go through so I can reach back and help somebody else. So definitely stay tuned, look out for me. And on the flip side, this is totally off topic. I have a 7-year-old, and we have a boys male grooming, hair, and skin line. We have affirmation cards for boys, and we also have children's books for boys. It's pretty much to just teach our young Black men how to groom themselves. It's over there. I don't feel like getting up, I don't feel like, but I don't want to take anybody's time. I would get up and show you. Matter of fact, hold that thought. 1 second. Hold the thought.
Don't get it, sis.
And show y'all really quickly what we got here. Hold on. So, all right, so these are just some of the products. So we have a natural soap for boys. So it's for boys between the ages of like 3 and teenage years, between 3 and 17. This is our natural soaps. This is our body butter. We have lemon and party cake so far. So it's absolutely amazing. We have hair butter for the boys. This is a boys line. And these are all of the products. So this is how I send my products out. We package them really nicely. We send affirmation cards with the boys. And we actually have a Facebook group with some ambassadors called the Dapper Gents. So if you know of any little boys or you have like any grandchildren, nephews, definitely connect with us. So we're the Dapper Gents on Facebook, okay? And the Instagram page is the Gabriel Ian Grooming on Instagram. I had to remember. So thank you.
Pop that in the chat, sis. So
okay.
Awesome. I see RJD and Korea and Carl shaking their head because they have boys. And anybody in here, even if we don't have boys, I think that we miss that a lot in regards to the gender. We make so many things for girls, and you know what I'm saying? So there's definitely a gap for that. And I'm so excited for you. And your son, Gabriel, is so cute. So cute.
Thank you.
That is a genius idea, and you need to be in Target, Walmart, and so if you don't have a broker, hit me up so I can get you contact for one.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes, take immediate action. Hit her up now. Consult with Korea on Instagram.
Consult with
All Korea. Right. Who else we got? What's up? I know y'all hungry. Stomach growling. I'm talking about myself. But anyway, go ahead, y'all.
Somebody else going? All right, I'll hop on real quick because my kids and that turned up right now. Yeah, I'm Carl Burnside. I have a number of different businesses. Orchid Strategies, my consulting business development company. We work with a number of different entities, including like procurement service companies, supply, tech companies. I have a number of tech clients where we do sales, market entry, product distribution, operations, management, talent management, I mean, the whole gamut. And what we are is a one-stop shop. We connect you to the resources using our network, everything you need to take your business from A to Z. We make it happen for you with clients both nationally and internationally. I am very passionate about helping people. I have a consulting company in construction called ICCS Academy Apprenticeship. I will provide trades, training, because we know right now that our people, we were built off trades in America. We built this company, this country, well, it's a company. We built this country and we created wealth by working in trades, and we've gotten away from that. So what we've done is created that pathway in those pipelines. So I do a lot of things. I love working with entrepreneurs. I love working with businesses. You can find me on Instagram at Orca Strategies, Orca_strategies. You just go to Carl_Burnside, and then you can find all my stuff there. Click on the link in the bio. It'll show you all my businesses and platforms on social media where you can find where I'm at. Let's talk, let's build. I love it. LaShana and I love LaShana. Love you, man. This whole event has been great. Biggest thing I pulled from it is just a mad pursuit of purpose, no matter what your fears are. You just gotta have a obsessive pursuit of your purpose, just to stay focused, and you always, every time we talk, LaShana, you walk that thing out, you live it, you move in it. So yeah, I love you all, appreciate you. I love the new energy. Some of you brought, I haven't met you before, so yeah, connect with me, let's talk.
Let's go. Thank you so much, Carl, for sharing. I just like when you talk, man, the voice, you need to go on. What's up with the podcast, fam? You've been MIA.
And we got to talk now. I had to, I put it on a little pause because I had this other stuff going crazy. I'm trying to get this IPO. So okay. I was trying to, oh yeah, go download one of my apps, telemedicine app, Mind Help. Go to your app store, download that. We're working on some cool things. Please go download that. You about to see something crazy. Be a part of the journey. But yeah, working on that. We got to talk. I gotta, we got to talk offline. So yeah.
Okay, got it. Mind Help. It's a telemedicine app. Go download it. And for all of y'all, I know I put it in the notes, but within the next hour, email me any links that you want me to add to the YouTube notes so everybody can stay connected. All right, who else we got? What was your takeaway and what's on the horizon?
I'll go. So this has been amazing. So incredible. I really needed it on so many levels. But I'd say my takeaway was primarily that you have to be willing to take action in the presence of fear. And I mean that wholeheartedly. You have to be willing to take action because you won't ever know what it feels like on the other side if you don't take actionable steps to try to overcome the fear. And I'll give a personal example. For me, for years, y'all, I was afraid to fly because I have fear of heights. And so one of my first trips as an adult was going to Chicago, and I did the sky deck and everything, and fell in love, didn't want to leave the deck. Actually, flying is like my preferred method to travel. I love to travel. And so I would have never known what that felt like had I not stepped out and faced my fears. So just to anyone watching, whatever it is for you, if you're afraid to be alone, if you're afraid of success or afraid of failure, whatever the case may be, take actionable steps to try to work towards overcoming that fear. So that would be my takeaway. And who I am, I'm Jenny King, aka Jen the Friend, and I'm an inspirational speaker and author and host. And my book, Live Whole, Healthy, and Free, is an inspirational guide to living in the moment. It's available on my website at jenthefriend.com, or it's available on all platforms. Also, what do I have coming up? I'm actually planning a live event here in Atlanta. It's going to be August 8th. So definitely come out. It'll be a meetup, a wellness event that focuses on weight loss, particularly for women, but men are welcome to come as well. And the event will be titled, So You Gain the Weight Back, Now What? So we're really going to dig in and kind of deal with some issues that come once you've lost weight and gained it back. It is a challenge that happens for so many people, and that's something that I want to deal with and provide support, an area in that I want to provide support in. I also offer a quarterly webinar or live webinar called Master Your Morning. You can find out more details about that on my website. I also have a productivity challenge that you can take part in that is connected to my book. So my book comes with a companion that's only available as part of the productivity challenge, and it's called the Holistic System. And so in my book, I really talk about 8 essential areas that I believe every single one of us need to be in the practice of cultivating. So yeah, definitely you can follow me on all things social at Ginger and the Friend. Connect with me. I love sharing with my community about how faith, fashion, fitness, and fun have really helped me on my journey to wholeness. And we have a lot of fun. So definitely connect. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Congratulations, Jen. I'm excited for your live event. I would love to support you. Just let me know what time on August 8th. Just for support. I would love to be in the building if you will have me. All right. Who has not went yet? What do you want to share and what's on the horizon?
I'll share. So as far as what I took away from this, I've only known you for like maybe like 2 weeks. It was crazy how, I was introduced to you, just jumping in on your live, things like that. But I just really appreciate the space that you create, because I believe that, everything that we want, we have to create the world that we want to live in. And so you create the opportunities for everything that all of us is speaking about to fear, to show people how we really can actually proceed with caution, because that's what it actually gives us the ability to, instead of being a deer in headlights and stopping, we all proceed with caution like we getting on the expressway. And so as far as what I really took from this, it really was one thing that stood out to me. Everybody showed how we're all some of the most beautifulest flowers that can grow in the swamp. So even though circumstances may be unfavorable, we still utilize the things that happen for us in our lives to actually make us grow and blossom. So I just think it was beautiful what everybody spoke about and what everybody is doing. So definitely peace and blessings to everybody. So again, as for me, you can find me on all social media platforms, Mr. Mindful Minute, all one word, MR Mindful Minute. Also, check out my podcast, Mr. Mindful Minute Podcast, where I touch on from emotional health, mental health, and then I have speakers that touch on from real estate to taxes to just almost everything that you could think of, far and in between. And as far as some of the things people can connect with me with, you can get a free complimentary affirmation session with me. If you just click the link in my bio, I'll actually tag it in here for people to actually book that session with me. And also, I have a merchandise line. So as you already know, I make motivational quotes, but I also put them on t-shirts, and I also create, as you can see here, it says, the love you want is the love you should give, right? And so what I really do is try to give something for people to not only be motivated, but inspired and encouraged all at the same time. And then also, I'm a motivational speaker. And so I'll let you know when my books are finished. I am coming out with that book, It Happened For You. And I'm also coming out with a step-by-step guide, how to keep your power, 7 affirmations to actually keep your power. So those will be coming very soon.
I love it. Go ahead and coin that. It happened for you. Okay. Period. Thanks for sharing. Yes, I met him on a live. He hopped on one of my lives. We chatted it up. I instantly seen his caliber of insight, and I've invited him to things going forward. Like when I see synergy, I open space, and that's basically what's been happening. So thank you for being here. Has everybody went? Yes. Okay, so I'll wrap up, guys. So I'm a mindset and clarity strategist, and with my 20 years of mental health experience and now pivoting to support entrepreneurs, I see that trauma is one of the biggest barriers to us really having a breakthrough in really flourishing in business. So I help entrepreneurs create a core offer, and we start with mindset, imposter syndrome, fear, and trauma. And so that's really what I've been niching down on. When I first started, it was just 80% business, 20% mindset. Now it's about 70-30, because it don't matter if you're a billionaire or you just starting on day one, your mindset can make or break the pie. And it comes around as a working document, depending on what level in the business that you've been able to push through. It just looks different. So I want to invite you all to my core offer masterclass. It's July 17th. I'm gonna pop it in the chat and it'll be in the show notes, but I'm going to take you from confusion to clarity. And many times as entrepreneurs, we think that we're being repetitive. Well, I always talk about this. That's good. You should always be talking about your core offer and what you stand for. So even though mindset, clarity, yep, you're gonna hear me talking about that over and over again, because as magical and crazy beings, we have so many different things coming at us that it's hard for us to stay the course and stay focused. Shiny objects, trauma, mental health, life, fill in the blank. And what I do is help you to stay focused, hold you accountable, but also be yourself, right? You guys will see me quirky. You will see me talking a little bit professional. You'll see me using Ebonics, okay? Only thing you ain't seen is my wig off. But one day I might trust you guys to do that too. Matter of fact, let me do it now. Psych. But anyways, so funny, right? So basically, if you are looking for clarity, I don't care if you've been in the business for 20 years or 2 days, I'm your girl. You can book a clarity call with me. We can see how I can support you. And if I can't, I probably know somebody who can. So let's stay connected. Let's stay connected. Thank you, everybody, for spending 2 hours and 11 minutes with me. You could have been anywhere, but you said, I'm going to be on the Bay podcast for the live table talk. Send everybody the link so they can watch the replay. And let's keep cooking in the kitchen. Y'all have a good night.
And shooting in.
Great work, y'all.
Awesome.
Great work. This was so freaking dope. I didn't know it was gonna go this long, but when the synergy is there, we can't just put a pause on it. Everybody's essence and input was needed tonight, no matter how big or how small. Keep killing it. Make sure you send me your links, because I'm about to update the show notes in about 30 to 45 minutes, and I gotta have your info in order to add you to it. And as you guys know, YouTube is global. Anybody can come across this. They can hear you talk. They go to the notes, and there you go. You have a connection, right? Any comments, questions before we say adios, amigo?
This was awesome. Thank you for the opportunity and for just
Thank you for saying yes.
The overflow. All of you are incredible.
Most definitely. So make sure to stay connected. Make sure to follow each other. I posted the free webinar in the chat. You guys already know all my stuff be all up on social. Y'all see it. I would love to see y'all at the 2-day live event in Atlanta, December 4th and 5th. You have time. Tickets are super cheap. So yes, on that note, have a good night. I love you guys and keep killing it, okay? Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Still live.
It's still hilarious.
Hey.
Yeah, it's still live. Yeah.
This is how we do.
I'm glad we let College Park come out. I was still composed.